Hey everyone. One of the things that most educators are really fearful about when it comes to artificial intelligence is that um, they're afraid that it is going to do the thinking for the students. And it very well can do a lot of those things. And I shouldn't say thinking, it might be able to help them produce outputs, whether it's an essay or an article, etc. But one of the things that I think we can do by leveraging how these AI models and chatbots were built and with the tools that are provided for us is we can create our own, let's call them a Socratic study buddy, our own little AI model that is going to follow some of the rules or attempt to follow some of the rules and constraints that we put in place to help alleviate that. Now, you can do this in a lot of different platforms, whether it's Magic School's AI. I know WLC has for students the Boodle box, which has custom GPT generators. ChatGPT does this. Claude, I believe, has this. I'm going to show it in Google Gemini because Google is where a lot of K-12 education spaces are kind of housed, and so it's a natural fit for that. It's also available to you for free with a Google account. You can obviously upgrade, etc. But let's take a look at the basics. In Google Gemini, they have something that is referred to as gems. So I've gone into gemini.google.com, and on the left-hand side, you see this little thing called gems. Now, they have some built-in gems readily created for you, but for this video, I'm going to create a very simple new gem. So really quick mistake, I actually clicked on this new one, which is experimental from labs. It's a little bit different type of gem, so I'm not going to click on that. I don't know that most people would have access to it. What I'm going to do is go down here to the gem manager. You can see some pre-made ones by Google. You can see a whole bunch of gems that I've created just to play around with this as well. So I'm going to create a new gem here. I am going to give this gem a name. All right, so I gave this gem the name of a biology study buddy. Its description is just helping students study for a biology exam. For the role, I used a framework called Role Task Constraints for designing this prompt. It's a very simple prompt. The role, you're an expert, helpful, encouraging study buddy for a high school student. Your goal is to help students review for an exam on cellular respiration. And I didn't stop there. I wanted to give it some constraints so it just wouldn't work on this on its own. So constraints. Rule number 1, never give the students a direct answer. Rule number 2, if a student asks a question, respond with a guiding question that points them in the right direction. And rule number 3, keep your responses to 3 sentences or less. Now, when I did this, I chose a default tool for guided learning. Not exactly sure what all the differences are here, but some of them are pretty straightforward. The Canvas is usually for writing. You can see video and images, research. This is just guided learning. There is a section for files. Now, this is where you can really say, I want this chatbot to be maybe restricted to a certain set of information, perhaps a chapter from a textbook or some lectures that you, or lesson plans or materials that you wrote out, which I think is a really interesting use case. I could give this something like a student handbook and then train this to be, someone that answers questions about, the rules or the policies at the institution. So with all of this done, I am just going to save this chatbot and we'll give it a test. So I'm going to start the chat. What do you want to learn? What is mitochondria? Let's see how it does. Now it's going to start asking me a bunch of questions, and I am not a biology expert. So let's just say I have no idea what an organelle is. Think about the organs in your own body, like your heart or lungs, which each have a specific job to keep you alive. Based on that idea, what do you think a microscopic organ inside a cell is responsible for doing? keeping it alive. All right, so you get the idea. And once I've created this gem, what's really nice is we have the ability to share these gems. So I'm going to go over here and find my biology study buddy and click on the share. Now, what that's going to allow for is I can add specific people, students, etc. I can make it restricted or anyone with the link. I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to jump over to an incognito tab and paste this link. Now, I believe you typically have to sign in order for that to work. So I'm going to sign in with a temporary account. All right, now that I've signed into a different account and pasted that, you can see I have access to that gem. Has all of the instructions pre-made for me. So this could be a really interesting way to provide something for students, something that you've specifically curated with knowledge and with rules and constraints for them to interact with. I have done some experiments with this. In one, I trained the ChatGPT. When I say trained, I just gave it some rules and some knowledge in the form of articles, etc., in order to interview me about things that pertain to the development of self-authorship, as an example. I have done other ones that are specific to taking voice overs that I have done. So a lot of times I'll record a research journal by just sitting down and recording with a phone or some sort of voice recorder. Microsoft translates that into text really well, but the text is got all kinds of the ums and the pauses and no punctuation. So I have one gem that I will give it the output and say, clean this up. And so its rules are things like, do not change any of my words, remove filler words, add punctuation in paragraphs where applicable, etc. And that turns one of my just incoherent ramblings into a voice recorder on the way home into an actual document or a research journal entry that I can have and look back on a little bit later. So there's a lot of ways that you could utilize your own personal gems or chat or GPTs or chatbots. And like I said before, there's a variety of places where you can create these and use them. So I'd encourage you, find the tool or the chatbot that you are most comfortable with, and explore how you can create a custom GPT, a custom chatbot. Magic School, Gemini, ChatGPT all have these to varying degrees. I'll also point out that the Khan Academy has a very interesting version of this that is called Khanmigo. And so Khan Academy has been working on a virtual tutor that is available for students within their platform that has a much more comprehensive set of rules and etc. that students can interact with. So it's worth checking out. I don't believe it is a free tool, but I don't know that it is overly burdensome as far as pricing is concerned. So if you're someone that uses Khan Academy, Khanmigo would be a really interesting tool to use for that.